live in and the people whom you love, with the photos in your bedroom and the future you dream of. You're made of so much beauty, but it seems that you forgot when you decided that you were defined by all the things you're not. Bing, 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 the bell has rung. All right, so Daniela, let's start with you. What do you envision this person or thing or what came to mind?
Honestly, when I am listening to the piece and it resonates so much with me, this is something I would write. This is something that I have written in this context before. And so while you're reciting the piece, I'm thinking so much of myself, because I completely understand the whole part with the age, the weight. These are all things that I would have experienced. I have insecurities about, and I see this as just me giving myself that affirmation, that self-affirmation, and trying to boost my own self-esteem as well. Yeah, that's what the
So I'm
piece is.
assuming what you wrote down is me?
I didn't write down with me, but I do have a few words that kind of, one, the person is, I think the person is, has been through a lot. The person is trying to be positive. The person is a lover of traveling, because I think the person mentioned all the places you've been and all the places you've called home. So obviously if you're talking about this, it means that you travel a lot, and being someone that travels a lot as well, I think there's so many places that I find a safe haven in that I would call home as well. So I have lover of traveling. I have at some, there are bits and pieces of it that I have depressed because of the context. And yeah, I just look at it as a letter, like the person is writing a letter to themselves.
A love letter to yourself. How you interpreted it? I'm seeing you drawing, and I'm like, wow, you guys interpreted it the same
So
way.
this is it's a mirror.
Yeah.
So I saw myself, all the things I'm not, and that stood out for me because I am who I am, but there are
And your
things
mirror
that
is like, it looks like,
Yeah, but-
like you bought it in the store.
right? So I felt like it was speaking to me. It was speaking to my past. It's speaking to my future. It's speaking to the present. All the things I'm not.
So the two artists interpreting the same thing, one with words and the other one with a drawing. And Rashona did a lovely drawing, like one of those handheld mirrors with the curvy and nice, very nice. I interpreted it somewhat similarly, but differently. So I interpreted it as a mother talking to her daughter, or somebody talking to other people trying to encourage them to see themselves differently and to see that they're good enough and they're all these things that they somehow don't think they are because they're listening to people on the outside. It's like, shut that out. You're awesome. But ladies, you're awesome. So you know what? This poem is not, no, it's not about you. You're awesome. And I know you are. I've known Rashona for quite a while. 18 years?
I think it's
It's more than that. Our children are 17, so it gotta be
Yes,
more than
it's-
that.
it's-
Wow.
Yes.
All right.
And we haven't aged.
Thank you. Thank you. Daniela, how difficult or easy is it for you as an artist in Guyana?
It is difficult. I mean, I am really blessed to have opportunities that I do have and the opportunities that come my way. But when I say that it is difficult, I speak for myself and I speak for the other spoken word artists and the creative industry as a whole. Because, so there's the creative industry, and the creative industry is broken down into many parts. And as poets, we are at the foremost bottom of the industry, whereas everyone else, as it relates to the singers, the dancers, the persons that play instruments, they are placed a lot more higher than we are, and so it's really a struggle for us to get out there because a lot of people don't take spoken word specifically as serious as they should. I don't think they understand the impact of it. I don't think they truly understand the art of it of all. And if you don't understand something, obviously you cannot appreciate it. So we struggle a lot to really get ourselves exposed, and as much as Oh, my tongue is dying. As much as we try to really push ourselves and put out content and create, it's like who is really, watching us and who's really paying attention to us and how many people are we really going to reach. So it is a struggle for us, yeah.
What about you, Rashona? You paint, you've got organic products, which is also something of the arts for you. How difficult or easy is it for you, not just as an artist, but also as a woman artist?
It's challenging at times, but it all depends also on what you're going through and what's going on. And what I've learned to do now is separate myself from what's ongoing, basically meaning as it relates to art, as it relates to my products. My competition is myself. My motivation is myself. And my art and my formulation is my catharsis.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So as opposed to, yes, it might be a business, and yes, it might bring in some sort of income, but first and foremost, I do it to basically, because it's my passion, and to basically purge.
Okay.
So with that, because I've been doing, art has been all my life. With the products, it's been since 2014. When I first started, we didn't have much people, formulating, and I like to use the word formulating. Now you have a lot of people, and it doesn't distract me as much as I think others are, because I know why I'm doing it. I know how it makes me feel. And when you look in communities, you see so many supermarkets. There's a culture now in Guyana, and we have a lot of supermarkets, Chinese supermarkets, and they're right next to each other, and they make it. So you compete with yourself, you motivate and inspire yourself. You can't, if you look to someone, you don't look as competition, but as strength, and to be re-motivated. So that's how I see it now. When I was young, it was much different, but that's my take now, and that's how I feel about it.
Okay, so Daniela, this question goes to you first. You talked about some of the challenges and so on. What do you think is needed or can be done to make the industry easier to navigate or to improve the industry?
Definitely try to be more inclusive as it relates to including all the different forms of art. Like I said, spoken word poetry, it's two completely different things, but I do feel that these art forms have a lot of impact. Just like music, just like every other single art form. This can literally speak to an entire country. This can speak to so many hearts, so many lives. And I feel like being inclusive and including it in all the different industries in Guyana and all these shows that we're having, all these concerts and everything, create that space for poetry as well. Like, we need that space because music is a big thing. But what about poetry? This can actually, like I said, change the way we see things and our perspectives and the lives of many people. And I've seen it because so many people would have reached out to me over the years and say, I was about to do this and I saw your piece and it changed my mind, or this piece inspired me so much, or it made me feel this way. And that is when you truly realize what poetry can do and how life-changing it can be, because it definitely saved me. And if you can do that to me, how many other people, So I feel like including it in all the different industries here in Guyana and making it a thing that people can actually, earn from and people can actually go to, and creating that safe space for poets.
Soon, it's coming. I like to say spoken word poetry, and I don't really like to call it poetry. I'm using poetry so people can understand exactly what I'm saying. I like to compare it with rap music and hip-hop music. It is coming from the heart. Most often it's about issues in society, whether it's your inner conflicts or the external conflicts in society, and it's just you bearing your soul. Whereas regular poetry could just be about rhythm and rhyme and just putting words together without depth. Not saying that is what poetry is on a whole, You can have rhyme and rhythm and depth, but spoken word to me, it feels deeper. Even the way how it's expressed, it appeals to me more than what we've known as poetry in school. In secondary school.
I think it's really culture in Guyana and around the Caribbean for poetry to be more dramatic rather than spoken word in itself, because I feel like I'm always explaining to a lot of people that don't understand what my form of art is. I have to say, listen, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing, because sometimes I go to perform at places and they want to micromanage everything and they want me to do this and do that, which this is not my art form. That is dramatic poetry. I don't do dramatic poetry. The whole concept of my art is to really evoke the emotions of people with just my words. I can literally stand there, and the elements that I'm using is my atonement, my hand gestures, my facial expressions, my body language. These are the things that are evoking the emotions of my audience. So a lot of people don't understand that, and they try to take me out of character when I'm performing. And that's why I feel like I've eased up performing a lot, because I don't want to go in those spaces that just takes me out of character as it relates to my poetry. I feel like it's a disrespect to my craft. So yeah, I think that it's so important that persons are educated on the different types of poetry and the different forms of art. A lot of people don't understand it, and I just think it's really important.
Well, I'm going to say, don't let them break here. So now it's the top of the hour, 7 o'clock. Thanks for staying tuned to 99.7 FM, 99.9 FM, 88.9 and 89.9 Edu FM Radio. I'm Martina Johnson, and this is the top of the hour break. Stay tuned. Listen, we got so many stations that we on, right? All throughout Guyana, every single region we touching. We got 99.7, 99.9, 88.9, 89.9. Wherever you are, you're going to get us. Edu FM, all right? Thanks for staying tuned. In studio, I have the talented Rashona Israel, a visual artist who's also an entrepreneur with her own brand of products, and Daniela Arjo. I think I keep saying that wrong.
It's Arajo.
Yeah, I keep saying Arajo. She's a poet and a writer, and she sings too. Yeah, she sings. She's gonna sing tonight. So Rashona, I have these. These are not samples. These are the actual products.
Yes.
Relay facial oil, and I'm seeing sunflowers.
Lavender.
I'm seeing
Chamomile,
petals, and it smells. I'm not gonna ask if I can open it again. These are the samples that I could smell. It smells heavenly. Tell me about this facial oil.
Okay.
What
Alright.
was going on in your mind when you put this together? How do you decide what scents and what oils and
so all of my products stem from a need or something I may be missing. Like, I'm a mom, and I wear so many hats. So there are a lot of occasions where I have to move from the mom look to the glam look. You know, so my lip gloss does that.
Yeah,
I have the lip gloss.
where is it? Where is it?
It's
Oh,
here.
yeah.
The
it's
lip
full
balm
of-
gloss, and I say balm gloss because it toggles from a balm to a gloss depending on how much you use. I'm
What
this
does
big.
that mean?
If you use like a little bit, it just looks like a balm. It goes on like a lip balm, and then when you use a little bit more, it gets glossier. So the more you use it, yes. All right.
Listen, the visual artist in you, how you package this, and in the little container, the listeners can't see it, but we're gonna post photos on our Facebook page so you can see in the shape of a flower, and then the photos of the coconut. I think I would open it and eat it.
Well, all of my customers see that. They're like, "Oh, I finished eating my lip balm," you know. And I'm like, "That's fine," because the thing is, the skin is the largest organ, and a lot of times, lip balm, lip gloss, lipstick, you know, we eat it a bit, you know. So then, why not have your products that you put on be food?
So that's why it's fully organic, natural.
All of my products. You know, so the lip gloss, I have this thing where my slogan is look good, feel good, be good. Like we were talking earlier, you know, you look in the mirror and you check yourself out, and then sometimes you may pass a vehicle and then you stop and you and you're like, oh, I look good. But do you know what that does to you when you check yourself? You just get this feeling. So when you put on my lip gloss and then you do the facial oil and then you look in the mirror like, ain't nobody gonna tell me nothing. Right? So the art does it for your home space. The products does it for you per se, because the art goes in your environment, physical space. But what about you as a person? So you're a work of art.
Yeah.
So the products basically keep you, you know, glowing. So I have for men and women.
And I'm looking at this. No, Daniela, read what this thing says.
Natural peach flavored deodorant, and it smells so good.
Peach flavored deodorant.
When
You
I
want me
first-
to eat the
when I
deodorant?
first- no, but I mean when you
Because
smell
you
it,
say
it
peach
should-
flavored, I want to taste it. Like, does it really taste like? It smells good,
Yeah, it does.
but
But you taste with your nose. You know you taste with you know, like you walk in the
You
house and you're
can,
like,
yeah.
oh, I know that's curry. You know,
Yeah,
and then
this
it's like
is
you can
so
taste it on your,
good.
you know. So that's what that's about.
shea
so.
butter, coconut oil.
Science also
castor
says
oil.
everything that you smell, you actually taste.
I did- right,
Yeah,
you
but
did
this
the
is like-
song, right?
I've never wanted to eat deodorant until today.
The lip gloss does that. The body butter does that. The facial oil does that.
So you made this so that when the men put it on, it would attract women.
Yes.
I didn't think that she was gonna say yes. You know.
Oh,
That's the reason.
Am I- Yeah. When I first started,
It's attractive.
it was the scent was more a lot of my essential oils because I use essential oils in it. And then I thought to myself, why not add, some scent to it?
So tomorrow, I know after the men hear this, you're gonna run out of deodorant.
Well, that's okay. Well, that.
So
That's
start
okay.
making some more because this
That's
yeah,
okay.
this makes me want to eat it. All right. You also got this.
That's
Under
under
eye
eye gel. I'm out of it. It usually comes with a satin sleep mask. So like before you go to bed, like for dark circles and tired eyes around the eyes. Like with that, it's stored in the refrigerator. That also has the chamomile in it
And lavender.
and lavender. So that's just.
So it probably smells really sweet.
And
too.
it's a roll-on. So
Yeah.
and the roll-on
It
is
smells
metal. So when it
good.
goes into the fridge and it has that cool, and then you roll it
Ooh.
there and you put on your satin.
I was wondering, was that silver? Okay, it's the silver. It's a
It's a
silver
metal,
ball.
yeah.
Okay. Man.
And the body butter.
Yeah, that one smelled. Okay, so
They
that
all
one I was
have-
asking you if you called it heaven, because if heaven has a smell, this would be it. Yes, it's like cocoa butter, chocolate,
Yeah.
Oh,
mint.
this is nice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that.
Okay, Danielle.
So that's
behave
what
yourself.
that's what you get.
Yes. So if heaven has a smell, that's it.
No, I would eat this. I would eat this.
It wouldn't last me a day. I'll just lather. Yeah, I'm going home with that
Wait,
tonight.
wait until you taste the lip gloss.
She only brought one, and you can't have it.
That smells really good.
Yes, I love it. I love it. I love it. How are people responding to it? And before you answer that, let me give a little preamble. In society, when you say natural products, it seems to attract only a certain group of people, like people who are naturalists, like people who have locks and natural hair, and who are Hebrew or Muslim, or it's attached to something cultural or religious. Is that the sort of feedback you're getting?
When I first started, yes. But now there's a play in the word because it's not only natural, it's organic.
Okay.
And that now brings, a different type of audience, different type of customer. And you'll be surprised to know that there are a lot of people that are not attached to a particular group or culture or class, very health conscious. There are a lot of my customers. They tell you about ingredients.
So
You
you
know,
think
they
that the
read-
awareness has grown from when you started to now?
Definitely. When I first started, yes. To now, yes. Yes,
Daniel, do you
definitely.
buy organic products?
Pardon me?
You buy organic products?
Occasionally.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind? For your hair, your
It's for my
skin?
hair and my skin. Yeah.
I'm into this stuff too. Now Daniela, you're a producer. This one producing heaven and deodorant that you want to eat. And you produce you produce scripts, you writing.
Yes.
How are people responding to you and your work? Let's say, for example, I know recently you performed in Dubai. Well, not recent, but
Last year.
yes, recent enough. And you were the first indigenous spoken word artist to represent us internationally. Also, is perhaps one of the largest, even though, yes, you did internationally, but it's the first time that you're having spoken word on the stage, even here at events in Guyana, in the region, and internationally. You mentioned that some people try to put you in a bottle of what their interpretation of it is. But to a large extent, is that what the reaction has been, or is it the minority responding that way?
I think it's the minority, but remember, aside from the whole poetry, I also do writing and stuff like that. So, as it relates to in general, everything that I do, from writing and stuff and the spoken word, I have been getting really good responses, which is something that I'm grateful for, but it's just the minority that actually tries to fit me into that box. in other spaces and when I'm doing other things, I'm able to truly express myself and truly write what I want to write and things that I want to say and stuff like that. I've written for a few international magazines as well, and I'm able to truly express myself and not being confined per se. So yeah.
So the people beyond our borders are more aware and understanding and accepting of your craft, you'd say?
So definitely, because like I said, here in Guyana, it's completely different. Spoken word poetry is not something that came from here. It came from a completely different part of the world, something that we discovered and we decided that this is what we want to do. So obviously when it's put out there, a lot of people, they understand it a lot more and they feel it a lot more than we do here, because in Guyana and around the Caribbean, a lot of people are so accustomed to angry poetry and going on stage and yelling and screaming and using indecent language and crying if you have to, which is fine sometimes, you know, but these are what people are used to. So around the Caribbean, but in other countries, they understand it a lot more. So,
Well, we have another poet in studio, DJ Simeon. I was told he writes poems. I've heard some of his music, so what can you tell us about poetry in Ghana? Or you prefer to recite a poem?
So I say that I think generally because of our culture and how that is, people would gravitate to poetry, generally speaking. Obviously, you have different tastes, and you can appreciate that. So, different sects of people are going to gravitate differently to different genres of art, yeah, different facets of art. And so you'll find that some people are into the whole dramatic stuff, and then you'll find that people are into the whole, classic, more proper approach or expression, and that is what it is about generally when we come to. I've been listening to you ladies talk, and everyone has their own approach to things. And
Is the reaction to your music the same? Has the same interest? When you compare your poetry, your poetry work and your music work, is the reaction the same? Like the audience, is it like everybody's like, yeah, not a poem come out? Or?
No, my my written work is different. It has a different audience, and actually there's one that I probably recite it for you guys, but the audience is definitely different, and the response it is way more welcoming.
Who do you write for when you put pen to paper? Like, is there, and both of you, Daniela and DJ Simeon, when you put pen to paper, who are you writing for? Is there an audience in mind, or it's just what's inside that you want to get out?
So for me, it's both. Sometimes when I'm in certain situations, I write based on how I'm feeling. But then sometimes when I decide to write, I write one for my people, which is the indigenous community. I also write for the persons that are healing, the persons that are trying to find light when they're going through this really dark phase in their life. I really try to be positive, and there are some instances that I also write for the ones who are confused and they don't know what they want to do with their life, and they just feel like, giving up and stuff. So yeah, I write for those people specifically.
I know Roshana mentioned when she's doing her products and she's doing her art, it's the same thing depending on her mood. Even how she dresses, like today she's so bright. Even when she dresses, she said that she does it with many things in mind. Yeah. Her mood, the people, and then she makes deodorant that you want to eat. But she makes it for men.
No, so no. I also have for women. I just did not bring that scent, but yeah, I'm not going.
And she didn't bring the one from me.
Oh my goodness! I'm going to bring yours back.
But we'll hook up after this.
Definitely.
So DJ Simeon, when you write, who do you write for, or what motivates what you put on paper?
There's a lot of passion in what we're able to present to people. But for me, I'm not. I don't think I'm ever deliberately trying to reach this particular group or this particular person. I'm more trying to express something that I feel. And in that regard, I may feel something based on your experience or something that you would have shared with me.
Or a movie that you looked at, or
Yes,
a book
please.
you read? Okay.
Right, so I feel as though that resonates with you ultimately because you can relate to this. So yeah, that's where it's at for me.
All right, let me hear a poem. let's hear. We're gonna hear your poem, and we're gonna hear Daniela right after.
Okay, all right. So
Putting you all on the spot today.
so here's one called Our Creation. Her eyes project my kind of light. Her time injects the need she brags about. I blushed, and she smiled, knowing we were aligned, literally. I was the fire that raged with love. She was the water that fueled me. Strange, isn't it? But no, I don't think so. In fact, nothing is strange in my world. My creation. My creation. And I listened to the response of her heart and knew what it meant. Heaven sent. Our strength. The coroner wrote about it. He said that love could excel at my expense. At my expense. Her eyes project my kind of light. Her time injects the need she brags about. I blushed again, and she smiled brilliantly, knowing we were aligned, literally. I was the fire that raged with love. She was the water that fueled me. Our creation. Our creation.
Nice. So that's a poem with rhythm,
Mhm.
rhyme, stanza,
Repetition.
Yes.
repetition, and so that's an example of a poem, like what we've learned in school. Now let's hear it, Daniela.
Mine is completely different, and that's what I
And-
like. That's what I like. I like
Good.
when I share spaces with poets and other creators that do the same thing, but also different from what I do. So this is a piece. It's given spoken word, but it's also given just poetry. But we'll see how you guys take it. This one is called Tainted Body, and it's something that I wrote when I was going through a really, really rough time with accepting my body. So it goes like this. Cutting it short.
You want to have some water first?
No, that's fine. Okay, so stretch marks, cuts, and scars decorating my skin, with lines telling the stories that my tongue could never. I tried to fit my big body into this very narrow mold that society has placed me in, where my fupa don't roll or my thighs don't jiggle and touch, where my skin is flawless. Like I didn't compose poetry on this blank sheet of a body or paint this canvas red when my ex-lover made me starve and fed me with society's definition of what beauty is, the definition that I didn't fit. Or when my mother told me that her skin stretched into a home for our protection before we were even born, so she named her stretch marks after my brothers and I. I stood there in my nakedness, tracing my fingers over every imperfect curve, poking my plumpness and reminding myself of the days I embraced this masterpiece. The days when the canvas is more than just red blood spills, but when it looks so much like it was painted by the hands of God. If I can love what's underneath, accept it as nature's beauty, embrace it when it's naked, then maybe I'll treat it sacred, but for now, it feels tainted. So my mind replays the phrase, resize, refrain, reshape it.
That's deep. It does remind me of the first one, the one I recited. It's similar. The language is very different. There's a bit of rhyming in there, and it makes it more captivating, and some of the content resonated with me too, because a lot of us as women, we have a lot of insecurities, and somebody would be looking at you, be like, oh, you look so amazing, and you don't even know how to say thanks. You'd be like, girl, you see these spots on my face?
And then the thing too with my poetry is that I try to give it a storytelling vibe, you know? Like, I really want to give off that story. Like, all my poetry, I wanted to have that storytelling thing. So most of it is just, it's like me telling you a story then.
You're the Taylor Swift of poets.
That's usually what I go for. But I am trying to really explore my writing and really get more into it as it relates to the whole repetition thing, the whole rhyming, because I really don't rhyme a lot, and I'm trying to kind of like mix it with rap a bit. But it's a work in progress. I mean.
So I have a recommendation for you, because this guy, as I was telling you guys before, that I was exposed to spoken word poetry in a particular setting for a number of years, where not just spoken word, but merging visual art and painting and a lot of other artistry in the same room as an annual event. And one of the artists that I was quite impressed by from the US is Jive, Jive, Poetic. He's got some really good work. And then from the Caribbean, Trinidad, Cleon McPherson. And there's also, her name slips me, is a Guyanese jazz singer slash performer. The name slips me. I can't remember her name. Wow. It was there as I was talking about Cleon McPherson, and then it just slipped me. But they are different, but very, very similar. And when I was in Trinidad, I think in 2013, I know you're trying to remember the name. Ruth Osmond. Yes, it's her. Yes, yes.
You said it, but it's like I'm trying. I just saw her face.
Yes, because the description, there's nobody else that could replace her, right? So Ruth used to do this, what was the name of it? Kaiso Blues.
Yeah,
and in Trinidad, and there's one person playing the percussion. And then there's another, I don't know what the instrument is called, but you know those wind chimes? It's like you're hitting on them.
Is that the xylophone? That's not the xylophone.
And it's right there, it's hanging. No, it's hanging in the air just like those wind chimes, and the music, and then somebody else is doing drums and someone else with guitar, and she is singing. It was real.
And it
fed my soul.
Yes. That's the thing. These are the things that I want to do, because like I said, I try as much to incorporate music into my poetry, because it really just gives it that different feel, the vibe, everything. That poem that I just said, if an instrumental was added to it, the flow would have been completely different. I would have been more expressive, and I feel like music plays a really big role, and that's why I've been trying to really add a lot of like instruments and stuff to my poetry, but it's so hard to like have access to these things here in Guyana. And
soon,
yeah, because like I would really like to just perform on stage with an entire band that's just, you know, going to my
yes, the percussions.
Like, you have no idea how many times I've envisioned myself on a stage with a band behind me, and when I'm at a certain phase in my poetry, the band just does this or
the
something.
drums come in.
Yes.
yes, or you know, you scratch the guitar or something.
Oh.
So
One day.
So you need to do like a vision board, that vision board, and put it on your cell phone.
Or you distort the piano in the background.
Every time you pick your phone up, you have your vision board, and because that's something I would attend.
Okay, all
I
right.
would bring my daughters. I'm sure Lady V would come along with you. I mean,
of
that's
course.
you know.
Yeah.
So, where can we find you to hear your poems? Where do you go to do your spoken word? Is there an event, like a bar, every month?
So I stopped performing regularly. So I only do bookings now, and you know, like coming on doing interviews and stuff like that, I've really stopped performing regularly. Like every month, I had spaces that I used to perform. There was finales, hip hop and poetry night, but the vibe wasn't really my thing anymore. And then there was also the pan and poetry, where you were incorporating pan into poetry, and just vibing to pan as well. But these are things that I no longer do anymore, and I just focus mainly on bookings, mainly because of my job, and because I'm really looking to kind of like spread my wings, but it takes time to really get certain things in place. So yeah.
Rashona, where can we find these products? I mean, these should be staying here tonight.
Well,
where can we find you? Where can we find your
leave
products?
all of these here. I'm on Instagram, but I have a day job too because I teach visual arts. But I have a website. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on WhatsApp.
What's your handle?
Rely Natural and Self-Care Products. That's for Instagram.
R-E-L-Y, no funny spelling. Okay.
No funny spelling. Yes. R-E-L-Y, Natural and Self-Care Products. On Facebook, on Instagram, and I also have a website.
What's your website?
Same thing, Rely Natural Products.
Okay.
Rely Natural Products.
And where do we find you? If like, is there a store that
So
has
how
your
I
product?
do it, it's online. So if you go on the website, you can order from there, and then the products can be delivered to you. The same goes for WhatsApp. So you put in your order. I have a catalog.
What's
on
the WhatsApp number?
600 6065.
600 6065.
Yes. So when you go on there, you see you have a catalog, and you can actually see all of the products, and then you choose which products you like, and then I usually some customers will pay via MMG, or
Same number?
The same. No, there's not a number.
What's the MMG number?
629-4280.
629-4280. Okay.
Yes. And then I would deliver.
Okay, nice.
Then I would deliver. So that's where I'm at until I get my location.
But remember when we started the program, you guys were asking, does it take long? It's done.
Already?
Yes, it's done. It's 7:30, and it was a pleasure having you both here in studio, Rashona and Daniela.
I just want to leave my social media handles as well.
Sure, go right ahead.
So my Facebook and Instagram, my Facebook is Daniela Arajo, DANIELA Arajo, ARAUJO. My Instagram is daniela.arajo.x. You can find me on TikTok as well. I accept bookings for weddings, special occasions, national performances, whatever it is. I do poetry. I also do written poetry as well. So like if you want like a special card or something and you want like specific words on it, I can do that as well. I also do basic writing services. So yeah, I also do promotion for small businesses. So yeah.
Well, that's what we're about here, women empowerment, and we give you an opportunity to spread your wings, providing, opening the doors to help you help yourself. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for coming out at the very first opportunity. There was no hesitation. It was just like, yeah, sure. Anything for women empowerment. So thank you so much for sharing your stories, your time, and your talent. Thanks to all our faithful listeners here on EduFM. Stay tuned. We still got more stuff coming up, just not our program, the Children's Education Program. Same time next Tuesday, 6:30, Women Empowerment. See you. Good night.